Hello friends, a television program can be produced almost anywhere. A program which is produced within the enclosed walls of a television studio involves number of people. There are people who are on the floor, there are people who are in the production control rooms. These people, they normally talk with the help of a talkback system.
Head up, camera one.
Whereas these people are free to talk to each other, there has to be pin drop silence on the studio floor. Except the performers, nobody is allowed to speak on the studio floor. But still, there is one person who communicates with the people on the floor. He is the floor manager. A floor manager is a vital as well as a communicating link between the studio and the panel. And he communicates with the performers with non-verbal cues. And before going into the details and see the actual demonstration of these hand cues, we can classify these hand cues into three different categories. Hand cues which are given before the start of the program. Hand cues which are given during the program. And finally, hand cues which are given towards the end of the program. So, to begin with, let's take into consideration the first category of hand cues. And the first one on the list is the standby. This cue means that the show or the sequence is about to begin.
Standby studio for recording.
This cue attracts the attention of everybody present on the floor. While giving this cue, the floor manager must stand next to the camera to which the talent has to speak to. So after the standby cue, we have another important cue which is followed as the action cue. Action cue means to start talking or begin action.
Standby studio for recording.
Standby studio for recording. 15, 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 3.
Cue him.
Hello viewers. And now we come to the second category of the hand cues. And the first on the list is speak up. In speak up, the floor manager cups his ear with hand. This cue conveys that you are talking too softly. We cannot hear you. So please speak up. After speak up, we have another important hand cue which is used by the floor manager, and it is speak more softly. The meaning of this type of hand placement is speak more softly. When the floor manager raises his palm to mouth, he is asking the presenter to tone down. It means you are too loud. So please speak more softly. And in case we have enough of time, but we are running short of content, what we have to do? Well, in that case, the floor manager is conveyed by the producer that he should convey to the presenter to stretch out the program. So the another important cue which is used by the floor manager is stretching. The amount of stretching is indicated by relative distance of hands as cue is relayed. Okay, think of different situation when we have little time left and the matter is more. In that case, the floor manager uses a hand cue which says speed up. The meaning of this cue is to talk faster, accelerate the action as there is not much time left. Speed of hand rotation indicates relative urgency and the amount of time remaining. The floor manager rotates hand and arm clockwise in a circle above his head. And if everything is happening smoothly and as per schedule, the floor manager is a very happy person. To deliver this cue, the floor manager makes a circle with thumb and forefinger, which means okay, everything is fine and keep it up. Commercial break. Well, it's something which we are more familiar with these days. But how does the presenters like say Anu Kapoor, Sonu Nigam, Ruby Bhatia, they know when and where to have a commercial break? Well, the floor manager does something like this. For showing this cue, the floor manager brushes right hand over left palm in a manner as if he is spreading butter over the bread.
Floor manager, the expert is speaking too softly. Ask him to be slightly louder.
Noise in the communication process means anything which hinders the process of communication. That means whatever disturbs the process of communication is labeled as hindrance or the noise. Noise can be of two types, internal noise or external noise.
Yes, FM, the expert is speaking too loudly. Ask him to tone down his voice, please.
Do you think that communication is only interpersonal?
Interpersonal? Communication can be intrapersonal, communication can be apersonal. Intrapersonal, when I say intrapersonal, means the communication which I do when I engage in reading a book, communication when I read newspaper, when I listen to the TV, when I listen to the radio, that is intrapersonal, where there is no element of feedback.
We have enough time. You can cue him that he can stretch the lesson.
No. When I say viewer or the receiver, you mean?
Receiver.
It is not only the receiver. When receiver responds, then the sender also provides a feedback to the receiver. Maybe I take an example of a classroom situation where the teacher poses a question to the student and student gives an answer to that question. Channel can be audio channel, it can be visual channel. When I say audio channel, it means anything which you can hear, you can listen to. The voice is coming. It's how you say it. What and how both are important. How means, if suppose I have to ask the peon for a glass of water, I can simply say, go and get me a glass of water.
FM, it's the time for commercial break. You can cue him.
Or who is responding, or who is the receiver in the process of communication.
Well, now let us go for a commercial break.
And now we come to the third category of the hand cues which are used by the floor manager. These cues are used towards the end of the program. And the first one is 30 seconds to go. This means there are 30 seconds left in the show or the segment or the event to finish. For indicating this time limit, the floor manager makes a T with both hands. After 30 seconds, we have another cue which says 15 seconds to go. "15 seconds to go" or wrap up. It means that 15 seconds are left in the show or the segment or the event, and the presenter must wrap up whatever he is doing. Hand position of this cue is grabbing motion into a fist. Well, if anything goes wrong on the part of the presenter, or maybe due to a technical failure, then the floor manager asks for a cut or a hold. It's something like this. For stopping the action or a talk, the cue used is cut. Hand position of this cue is when the floor manager draws a hand across his throat in a cutting motion. And finally, the presenter is happiest of all when he receives a wind-up cue towards the end of the program. It's something like this. The last of the cue is for wind-up. It means to conclude the action or the talk.
FM, we have only 30 seconds left.
Why you want to communicate, that should be very clear to the individual who is likely to communicate. Another is to whom you are communicating. You must think of the audience to whom you are communicating, and then what message you want to pass on, how you want on, the medium or the channel which you would like to use, and you must integrate your verbal with non-verbal communication. Or in nutshell, we can say that communication will be effective if all these principles are taken into account while communicating.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tulsi.
Thank
Now
you.
you have given a very good discussion on communication process. This will help to all viewers of this TV program.
Thank you. Anji. Okay.
So friends, these were some of the hand cues which are used in a studio recording. A floor manager must establish eye contact with the performers while sending a cue, but at the same time he must avoid too much of eye contact, which otherwise distract the performer. So be careful while sending a cue. Good luck.